Hello, and apologies for the technical glitch that cut the previous video short. There's not much left. Just two things I want to go through with you. One is, and I will share my screen now. Share screen. One is how the Guna and vriddhi that's carefully observed in Sanskrit can become a bit blurred over in Pali. But as so often, it'll help you to understand what's going on in Pali if you can see what has happened in Sanskrit. Let us take the root kri, meaning to do. Typically in Sanskrit, the passive participles, the past passive participle, is formed by adding ta to the root, to the unstrengthened root, that's with no guna and no vriddhi. So done is in Sanskrit is krita. The present he does takes guna of the root in Sanskrit, so it becomes kar, the r, guna ar, and vriddhi becomes ar. So it becomes karoti. And in Pali, in fact, it's exactly the same as well. However, this one, the krita, because Pali does not have a ri, this becomes kata. Now, it might look as if this results from the guna of the root, kritu kar, karta, but it's not so. It happens here, kata, simply because Pali does not have a ri. So here we lose that anchoring effect of the, so to speak, discipline of Sanskrit. Karoti, the same in Sanskrit and Pali. And here we do have a very accurate reflection of the Sanskrit vriddhi, the double strengthened, because the causative, as often happens, vriddhi is the a, so in Sanskrit becomes karayati. And this is reflected in the Pali kareti. Just now to give you another couple of examples of how we talk about the use of vriddhi in modern Hindi and you see in more modern Sanskrit words, how you can make an adjective by the use of vriddhi. For example, you take the word Buddha. Now, you don't find this in classical Sanskrit because they didn't talk about Buddhists in classical Sanskrit. But if you see modern Sanskrit written, they will create an adjective, just as in English you say a Buddhist adding an ist. They can create an adjective by just applying vriddhi to the root vowel. So their word for a Buddhist with u vriddhi to au is Buddha. And for example, you take a root, here we can see the progression through zero grade guna and vriddhi. Take the root yuj and applying, and of course there's the j, g change, applying guna to that, yuj with guna, u to o, with guna becomes yoga. Another way of making an adjective out of yoga is to add, in Sanskrit, ika, which is no coincidence that it's the same as the Greek ikos, which in standard modern English often have ik, so as in yogic. So there are very common ik ending to make an adjective out of something from Greek and ultimately back to Vedic, the ika. So you don't say for yogic in Sanskrit, you wouldn't say yogika, that would be wrong. Yogika with the guna form, you strengthen that to vriddhi. So vriddhi with ika makes the adjective. So yogic. So the u to o and the o then by vriddhi to au becomes yogika. Now, as I've said earlier, this vriddhi form, this au, is softened in Pali just to o. So in Pali, yogic would be yogika. So you can see that the only place where the vriddhi is obvious in Pali, because the I becomes an e, the au becomes an o in Pali, whereas the a will remain a long a. That is why in words like karayati, bhaveti, you see the effect of the vriddhi in Pali. So it's just that one remnant of the vriddhi left in Pali. And another way, for example, we talk about the formation of derivative nouns and adjectives by vriddhi of the vowel. I just very recently saw in a modern Sanskrit text was talking about Christians. And so if you write Christ in Sanskrit, that becomes Krista. And just as Buddha becomes Bodha, from Buddha to Buddhist. So Krista by vriddhi, so a Christian became then as a Christa. So Krista, Christ, Christa with vriddhi of that root, not really a root of course, but vriddhi of the main vowel of the word to Christa. And you will see one way of forming an abstract noun is to do vriddhi of the first vowel and change the last vowel to a ya. So for example, let's take Mahatma, as in Mahatma Gandhi. So Maha, great, this is Sanskrit, Maha plus Atma, which for these purposes we'll just call soul. So Maha Atma becomes Mahatma. And write it with a capital H because this is the, as in Mahatma Gandhi, great-souled Gandhi. To make an abstract noun out of that, you could say Mahatmata, but you can do it a different way. Take this Mahatma, apply vriddhi to the first vowel, so ma, so maha becomes ma. The intervening vowels remain the same, ma, and the final vowel changes to ya. So here we have Mahatmya, which is the abstract noun for great souledness. It's the abstract quality, so the concrete adjective Mahatma, great souled, having a great soul, to Mahatmya. You will see remnants and shadows of that in Pali. And as before, they might appear puzzling. Why is it that form? Hopefully the puzzlement will disappear entirely once you fully master this idea of guna and vriddhi. The most important thing, however, at an early stage of your study is not so much to master the rules, but just to know what we're talking about, or what a grammar book writer is talking about when he's talking about guna and vriddhi. And hopefully by now you will have achieved that stage. Thank you for watching.